Hi, welcome. It's nice to see you this week. It's Refugee Roots Art at Home. I'm Ant and I hope you're doing well. And it's been lovely to catch up with you and see you, some of you on the Zoom and in the WhatsApp group, and hearing from other Refugee Roots staff that you're doing some of the art activities and enjoying them and finding it helpful. And I hope it's given you something to do. It's keeping me busy. And it's just lovely to make something just for fun. So don't worry about anything that you're making today being perfect. We're just going to give it a go and see what happens, and that's the good thing about art, that it can surprise you as well. So if this one is not too difficult, I know some of them have involved a few challenging things in the past, but this activity is week 10 watercolour bookmark. So we're going to aim to make a bookmark, something like this, with a little tassel, a painted sheet that you can pop in a book to keep your place. So this is for you to keep. Pop it in there and it keeps your page, and it is quite nice to have a special one that you've made yourself. So let me show you. Hope you can see that okay. It's a bit tricky to get a good angle from here. I think that's the best I'm going to get. So this is the bookmark as an example. Let me just, there we go. There's a bit too much light going on in this room. It's lovely to have the light today as the weather's getting a bit brighter. So this is your plain piece of paper with a hole at the top. You need your watercolour tin. You need your brush and a cup of water. And the thread that's in your pack. Where is mine gone? I did have some. Is this it? Okay, so some thread and your scissors. Now in this thread, when I packed it up, I might have put a plastic needle to hold it safe in this bit of paper. So you can take that out, that's not needed for this week, that's needed in a few weeks time, but keep it safe in case it's going through your thread and stopping you pulling it out. So that's just a little heads up there. Okay, so on this paper, we're gonna paint a wash of colours of your choice. This is the example that I've done with some purple going down into yellow and orange. So let's give that a go. It's a bit tricky with this light today. It's either really dark or really light. So let me see if it works out. And if you can't see very well, then I'll send some pictures in the WhatsApp group. And I hope those of you who don't have WhatsApp are still able to feel part of this group until we can meet as an actual group, which would be nice if people are able to come out when the restrictions start reducing. We're just waiting now for things to get a bit better so that we can meet up in person. So I'm just making a purple, so it's red and blue, and just keep mixing until you find the nice shade that you want of purple on the tin lid. So a bit of red and a bit of blue. That makes this nice purpley colour that I'm going to just kind of softly, gently paint in kind of little sections on here. And remember to grab your brush and you can really blend it. You can blend it whilst on the paper as well as on the tin. So that's the good thing about watercolour, is that you can be quite free with it. I want a bit more blue in there, I think. So I'm doing a very light blue, lots of water in there, like a wash really, next to the purple, and then blending it. I might use a bit of white. I don't know if we've used white before, but if you mix it obviously with other colours, it can just make it that little bit lighter and more kind of pastel coloured. Which can help make it look a bit more dreamy. So for this bookmark, I've gone for a kind of, looks quite dreamy, maybe like a sunset at dusk when the sun goes down. I'm trying to just blend together so it doesn't look too harsh anywhere, and you can't really see the brush strokes too much. It's all quite soft. I think that's the best word to describe it, as it looks quite soft and blended. And then near at the bottom I'm going to put some yellow. Yellow can be quite hard to stand out because it's such a light colour. I'm going to do this colour next to yellow, which is a kind of ochre colour, I guess. It's a mix of kind of yellowy brown. And then I'm going to build up to some orange. And then maybe this first brown, this kind of warm brown as well on top. So play around with different shades that you like, and just gonna let that dry a minute. Like I said, the light's being quite tricky for me today. Hopefully you can see it's not too glary, not too shadowy. But you can see the kind of the colours that I've used. So that's a bit better, isn't it? Okay, so we're just letting that dry for a minute because we're going to paint on top this black leaf design. Now you can do this freehand, or you can use your pencil to plan it out, which I would probably advise using your pencil. Just having some tea there. Hope you're relaxing, getting a drink. So I'm going to just plan out a few little bits with this pencil, a few little markings of where we might put the leaves. Let it dry a bit more. I'm thinking down the bottom here, I put a kind of little shadow. So we're using black now, and I put a little, just going to thin it out with some water and make a little kind of gap in the bottom. So it looks a bit like you're peeking through, maybe like between two rocks. There we go. Now I'm going to take the black and mix it really well, make it really dark, because this wants to look really dark, this black, almost like you've used a felt tip pen, but we're not going to use that. And then start drawing our lines on with our leaves. If it starts to, the paint starts to thin out like that, just add a bit more water and get some more on your brush, because you want it to be a continuous line. So you see like that, where the paint's kind of running out off my brush. Add a bit more. These are kind of like vines or just leaves from a bush coming down and growing up. You can make them as complicated or as simple as you like. Just make sure the background's quite dry first. Just like this. Don't worry too much planning. Don't plan too much about where they're going. Just be quite free with it. Put the leaves on the little vines. Now I don't want to rush this. I want you to take this slow as well. So carry on doing that. And make sure that it's kind of as full as you want it to be. Then we're going to do the tassel. So this is what I mean by the tassel. It's the length of thread about as long as the bookmark that's going to come off of the hole on the top. So with your thread, this is a bit complicated, so I'll go through it slowly. Thread you've got, take it out of the paper holder. Find the end. I'm sure the end is here. Yep, got the end. Now we're going to cut a short piece, and this will help us with the tassel. So it only needs to be about this long. That will help us when making the tassel. Got another longer piece of thread that we want the length of our tassel to fall. So by that I mean how long you want this piece of thread to be. So like I said, probably about as long as the bookmark. Probably don't want it too much longer than that. I'll cut that. I'm going to put it over our finger like this. Over the top of our finger. The rest of the thread, we're going to wind over 2 fingers. So wind over the top like this. So you've got that cut piece trapped on top there, and we're winding it round over 2 fingers. To make our tassel. Depends how fat you want your tassel to be, how big, how many times you go around. At least 10, maybe 10 or so times, and then cut it off. Now we've got this looped through the top, which is holding the top of thread B, and we're going to cut the bottom. Still holding the top, and now placing down, a bit like making a pom-pom. Place it down, and we've got to tie these threads together with our short piece, the first piece of thread we cut, thread A, near the top. So I'm going to give a bit of space. There we go. Just do 2 knots to be safe. So you have something like that, a tassel. You might have a different way of making it, and that's absolutely fine. I'm just going to give it a trim so it's all the same length. There we go, and we've got it on our thread that we're going to tie a knot at the end of. And we're going to loop through the hole and then put the tassel through the loop of it so that it stays on. There we go. There's your tassel, there's your bookmark. The only thing I haven't mentioned is this masking tape at the side. Now that your bookmark's dry, so you could paint on top. You see I've painted on top of the tape, and then we just peel it off. And this is better when it's a bit drier than what mine is, but as you can see, the tape helps to just make a really clear border, a white border around the bookmark, which helps it to look so much more professional. Looks a lot better than not having the border. There we go. So just peel off the tape. Just like that. And there's your bookmark. Enjoy. I hope it goes well. Share some pictures and photos, and if you need to look through the tassel bit again, then just keep looking through the video, and if you're stuck, just let me know and I can do another video, because that is probably the trickiest bit. But otherwise, you've got a lovely bookmark to use. Thank you. See you next week.